Can we unwrap our party bags? Party bags. Okay, I'm actually really excited to get into this. So let's go. We've got a unicorn spinner. We've got... Dude! I thought I was going to make that loud sound.
Well, they're like...
But, like, the thing was, when I worked there, like, the whole 2 years, I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. But, like, it's just, like, reality life. Like, you know you got to do something. You know you got to make money. You know you got to get a house. And you know you got to get a car. And you know you got to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you need a good paying job for that.
And that's where we ignore our actual life's purpose and
Exactly.
our true purpose.
And it just took me off, like,
selves.
this whole... Because, like, before I worked there, I was actually really centered in myself. Like, I was a bit depressed and, like, I used too many drugs. But I was actually pretty centered. And then that just felt like a whole, like... I want to say side quests. That, like... Why was that so much better than mine? Okay, so the thing is, I think it did actually teach me things because, like...
It would have. Any
Definitely.
journey we go on,
Yeah.
it's to teach us things.
Yeah. And
We
see,
learn
my
from
whole
it.
thing was, like... So, I kind of had the inkling I wanted to be a mother. And since working there, like, you realize how fucking hard it is. And, like, it really gives you, like, this whole new perspective on family. Like, everything's centered around family. So I know so much information about family, children and stuff. But, like, it didn't give me the knowledge I wanted. I wanted something that was just going to, like, feed me information like what we're doing. You're, like, giving me information day after day after day that I'm actually interested in. And my whole thing was I wanted to work in a job that I loved and was able to keep me, like... interested and just basically just like feed me information. And that wasn't it. Like, it taught me things, but...
So it resonates with you learning. And I guess if you've used ChatGPT for so long and nothing's really taught you for years, no wonder you're craving that.
Well, honestly, I did resonate quite a lot with psychology. The whole thing was... So I'd been to, like, psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists ever since I was, like, 12 years old. And, see, I used to observe them a lot because, like, they were just very interesting people to me. Just, like, the way they can put on this mask and the way they talk to you, like, I would literally just break them down. Not, like, actual, like, give them I only did that once. Not, like, give them a mental breakdown, but, like, I would just, like, try and decipher? That word.
Decipher.
I was so fucking old. This is ChatGPT. I don't learn pronunciation. I just learn the word. So I would try and decipher, good word of the day, like everything about them. I would just like...
You would psychoanalyze them.
Yes,
that's
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, what was that Hannibal doing?
Naturally, we can all do that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a more intuitive person.
Yeah.
And you're practiced
I think I just didn't really have anything else to do. Wait, where was I going? I was on a really good train of thought.
Well, you said you liked observing. So.
Yes. Okay, so the whole reason why I didn't want to be a psychologist, I just wanted to study, was that, and I don't think I have enough empathy. Like, I think
Actually,
I
empathy
do
is
have
why
empathy.
I didn't do it.
I think I do have empathy, but it's very subjective, and basically... I don't think I feel things the way other people feel things. I know everyone says that, and everyone probably doesn't, but, like, I feel like my feelings are just a bit, like, stagnant and off sometimes. Because, like, even, like, deaths in the family, I'm like, oh, well, they'll reincarnate one day. Why are we crying?
Yeah, so that comes into more of your belief system.
Yeah.
So the emotional body is very much linked, and your thought body, your thinking body, is very much linked to our beliefs. And... yeah, our experiences and what we intuitively know. So you're a very intuitive person, spiritual person, naturally. So, no, you're going to feel things a bit different. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's more that societal expectation. So that's what you're putting
like,
on
trying
yourself.
to fit everyone into a box, yeah.
No, well, yes, but...
Because I used to compare my feelings to other people's.
So you're identifying that you're different to the societal norm.
Yeah.
Which is most of your generation are realizing now. Because you're like... They may not necessarily relate specifically to what you're saying.
Yeah.
But different variations of what you're saying. due to their beliefs and what they have learned. Because it's not that you haven't learned anything.
Yeah.
You've learnt your own things.
And
but
see,
it's very
I only learn
different
what
to
I'm
societal
interested in.
norms.
Yeah.
And so do I.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in everything.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. Well, actually, no. I'm not interested in everything. I'm interested... Oh, no, I'm interested in everything. I'm not interested in learning off everyone.
Yeah.
Or the mainstream version of learning. That's not me. Which is my issue at the moment with looking at a yoga accreditation.
Yeah.
So there's that part. So no, it's when I so I did a year of psychology.
Yeah.
I went to go get a bachelor and I started
Did you
doing
have to
that.
pay for that?
Yes. So
Oh
if you
my god, like the whole bachelor or just the year?
No, just the year. The classes. So how a bachelor works is you pay for each class individually. So if you don't finish everything, but you have to pay for a class if you fail it.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I have a solid hex debt. Anyway, so with psychology, what I was taught in the actual class is that no, psychologists are there to study. It's very objective, subjective. You know, you aren't supposed to really connect
think they
too
put
much
on
with
empathy?
them.
Like, I feel like
It's
they put on
very
this whole
facade.
wall.
It's
Yeah.
complete facade. No empathy, no sympathy.
Honestly,
Or
I think it's better for their mental health, though.
That's the thing. So you can be sympathetic. So again, this comes into the whole vet thing. So I was talking to Mum, and I was like, "No, you don't know what I want to do. I want to go help people.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the mental health of the world and society. I want to go be a psychologist."
Yeah.
And so there was two things I learned from that process. I learned a lot about psychology, which was fascinating. And I do utilize all of it. So again, I utilize everything that I learned. One was my mum felt I was way too empathetic. She was like, if you see a little kid coming to you crying about what's happening at home and it's not a physical abuse and there's nothing you can do about it, how would you feel? And I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it'd just drive me insane.
Yeah.
Not being able to do anything
I
about
don't know
it.
how they turn off their mind from that. Like, how do they go home at night?
Exactly.
Just, like,
So I
switch
can't relate
off?
to that. That's where it's actually a trait that they have, and they get trained on how to do that. So my brother's nearing the end of his bachelor. He's trained how to do that now.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it is when I was in the actual subjects and I had these ideas, they said, no, a lot of what they do is actually statistical analysis. So they're learning about the mind. It's the practice of scientifically learning about the mind. So a lot of those psychologists, and correct me if I'm wrong, because back when I was studying it, they told me at University of Queensland that they take a lot of their reports, whether and when it's fascinating cases, and they actually file them, write up reports, and then send it to the Bureau of Statistics, and it becomes data collection. Yeah, apparently. So because it's got nothing to do with the person, they don't disclose any information. You would be. They don't disclose any information. It's not about the person. It's not about like.
Wouldn't it be the most interesting cases though?
I don't know. See, I never went further than that because I was like, that's not helping people. Like, to me, it didn't resonate then. I was like, that's not helping people. That's just information collection, which is how our world works. That's how our world works.
Oh my god, if they even have a hinkling of it, they might not even be helping you. They just want that info. That's scary.
Well, have you noticed? So you've been to therapy, yeah?
Yeah.
I've tried a few different therapists.
Yeah.
I've had one really resonate. The rest were morons. I'm just going to say it. Because I'm so in tune with my self-analysis that I was nearly telling them what it was. And they were like, well, so apparently, according to them, cognitive behavioral therapy is what would help me the most.
Yeah, I tried that. Don't do that.
Yeah, and I just went, okay, so I'm just going to move away from this whole thing.
At least it wasn't like electric shock therapy. Give it to them for that.
Yeah, a few years ago, it probably would have been that. So anyway.
Lobotomy.
Yeah.
I think I would have been lobotomized.
But essentially,
I think
their questions are invoking self-reflection, self-assessment. That's all they do, yeah? They don't actually give you any advice, do they? It's all like, oh, well, what would you do? What do you think?
Okay, that...
Have you never noticed that?
I once had a therapist... Okay, so I went through like 2 years of psychosis. We'll get into that another day. But I had a therapist that let me write down all the states of America in one session. That was our entire session.
That's weird. Before we continue, and that's weird, I just want to disclose, and maybe a little mini disclaimer, that the psychological industry has grown significantly. When I was studying, it was 12 years ago. So this is a while ago.
Fucking
Yes,
hell, I
I'm
was
old.
a child. Wow.
I'm old.
You're not that old.
It was 12 years ago. So they've grown. Everyone evolves. Everyone's grown. My age group are now coming in. They're all qualified psychologists. So it's changing. There are different methods. They don't just do that. But when I was 16 and I was having a lot of issues,
Yeah.
you know, and a lot of addictive behavior and very isolated, closed off, had a lot of issues with, you know, family happenings, friend happenings, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, so I go to a psychologist and that was all they did. So it didn't help me at all. But the industry now, it's grown. They do help. There's a lot of people changing it. So, and integrating, you know, different things they've learnt about the mind now. So science serves a massive purpose. And that's why I actually bring most things that we talk about back to science, because you've got so much over here and then no practical backing for it, which is great. It's a good thing.
I'm just wondering, do you think psychologists use like the same, I don't have another word, their method on every single one of their patients? Like, do you think they go off like rule book?
Yes. Yeah. So they're trained in certain methods and certain theories.
Yeah.
And then that is their speciality. That's what they're specialized in. So they can get trained in multiple
things. When you go onto like
things.
a psychologist website and they have like bipolar disorder, depression, what they like specialize in. So that's what they're actually trained for. That's why I've been turned away so many times.
Yes, dude. Oh my
Fuck, that's
gosh.
so depressing.
It's not depressing. I mean, it's kind of depressing that you didn't realize that.
I was like 13 years old. My mom should have done that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree. I agree from a mothering viewpoint. But
Yeah.
my mom didn't do it for me. She actually couldn't understand why I needed therapy at all.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. My
'Cause
mom
she
was
was very-
fucking amazing.
Well, there you go.
Throughout the whole process, she was just, but she wouldn't leave me alone. She would be in my space 24.
Because mums worry about us.
Oh,
my
she
mum
was
worried
very
about me,
worried.
but she didn't come into my space. She tried to give me
Really?
space. But she would ask me why. She couldn't comprehend.
That was my
why
dad
I
throughout
was
the whole
going.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my dad didn't even acknowledge it. I don't even
I
know
feel like
whether
it's
he
a dad
knows that I
thing.
went. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. He's never asked me or spoken about it. So my dad actually doesn't believe in mental health. As like a little fun
How
fact.
old is he?
there. He's a boomer.
Yeah.
So this is why I have quite a different, not the only reason, there's a lot of people my generation that have boomer parents, but that's why my generation are much more gentle.
Yeah.
But I can see value in the boomers because my mum was Gen X, my dad was a boomer. So my mum had the gentle,
Yeah.
my dad had the real like hard line strict.
Oh, really?
So
That's
I was very
interesting.
much in the middle.
Yeah.
So my dad didn't believe in mental health, my mum did. So it was always, does it make more sense about me?
Yeah, it does.
Why I'm so balanced?
Yeah. Like
I've got the balance from parenting to
literally,
like
I was
everything I've
thinking
ever
feminine
learned.
and masculine, and I'm like, oh my god, this makes so much sense now.
Yeah, so my parents' charts were interesting too. I looked into all this. My brother's very balanced as well, but he's a little bit more on the masculine side, which is why he can do the psychological process
Interesting.
and I can't.
Dude, psychology is so interesting.
It's fascinating. My favorite subject was neurology. I
Really?
did it twice. I did 2 subjects on neurology. Yeah. Because it all relates to each other. That's the thing, I guess. If there's any point you get from this, everything is integrated. Everything relates to each other, you know? The energetic bodies, the emotional body relates to the physical body because it's speaking to the chemicals that are being released from the thinking body.
Yeah.
And in turn, the spiritual body, because that will trigger things in our ego for us to identify and sit with, which then talks to the emotional body from the physical body. And all vice versa. There's all these different integrations.
Did you ever think mental illness was very interesting? I got way too into it.
Psychology itself is interesting to me.
I didn't get, like, I'm gonna be honest, and this sounds really bad, like, Alzheimer's, anything that, like, makes you forget, like, dementia and all that, it wasn't as interesting. I got really into, like, schizophrenia, like, bipolar disorder and shit. And split personality. Oh my god, that was so interesting to me. Have you seen the movie Split?
Yes, freaky movie. So I'm deciding how raw I want to be with my opinions on these topics. They exist. So
Yeah.
just to clarify that, I'm not like my dad. I don't believe they don't exist. They exist. I've got cousins that suffer from mental illnesses.
Wait, is autism a mental illness? Like, is OCD?
It's not politically correct to say that anymore. See, this is where word use is changing, and then it gets all really quite confusing. I think it's confusing. So
I think that's why they
No.
call them on the spectrum.
yeah, they just change all the words. You know,
It's a
10 years
spectrum.
ago it was called a mental disorder,
Retard.
wasn't it?
Never mind.
No, that was
Was
longer
that
than
like
10 years
the
ago.
1900s? I don't know. I watched the what is it?
Maybe I should prepare
The
a little
Mile
bit more
movie?
and do like
I don't know, the big black suit. Oh, no.
Green
I don't remember
Mile.
that. Yes, that. I'm like, right, it's 3 hours long. Dude, I have to watch this shit in segments.
I watched it like once. It's a
I'm
heavy
honestly
movie.
loving it.
It's a heavy movie.
Really?
Yeah.
It's giving me so much like...
That's good. Yeah, you resonate with
why.
it. That's all this spiritual journey, life flow process is like when you like something, you know, to put it in practical terms, you like it.
Yeah.
Focus on it.
I do like it.
That's it. That's, you know, there's just, again, it's word use. There's different words for the same things. That's really all life is.
Yeah.
Okay, that was quite dense. I feel like
My
wrapping
energy
it
is...
up.
Yeah, do you want to wrap it up? Let's wrap it up. I need a kazoo. We should get one of those little
No,
kazoos.
it'd be too loud. We've got mics.
No, for like an intro video, I think we should just go up and kazoo that bitch. Like, just like a little kazoo.
Just
Namaste, guys. Subscribe to our Substack for the full podcast.